Hello, everybody. Good evening from a city called Hamilton in New Zealand. So, Hamilton is about 1.5 hours south of Auckland City. And my name is Arun Jacob, and I am a licensed immigration advisor for New Zealand. And that is my license there. And I run a company, I operate a company called AJV Global where we help people from across the world to come and make New Zealand their home. There are various pathways to come into New Zealand. And was in the process of making a lot of videos for a long time, but of late with a much larger team and a bigger team who are taking care of most of the everyday work. So I rarely come online, but then I miss not being able to talk to all of you. And every once in a while, I'd like to still come, live on YouTube or Facebook. And I talk to people. And so far, there's only one person who's joined in called JRK Exports. Hi, buddy. Thanks for joining in. Really appreciate it. And so I was sitting at my computer and just, going about doing my work. And I said, man, it's been a long time since I spoke to, some of you people. I do have about, I think, about 20 odd thousand um, followers on my YouTube channel. And I thought it's only fair I go back and talk to all of you. But so let's make this a nice Q&A session today. If somebody is interested to come to New Zealand and you want to know how we can get here, what are the different pathways, how someone like me or my team can help you. And I see Samrat has also joined in, and and there is Harish who says, hi, Arun. Hi, Jacob. How are you? Doing very, very well, Harish. Thank you for asking. Thank you, Samrat, for joining in. And thank you, JRK Exports. I hope you can share your real name so that I can call you by your real name. I also always like to personalize my interactions and my comments to everybody. And yeah, there are just three of you right now. But if you want to ask me some questions, I am happy to answer any questions about New Zealand and how we can move here and what you can expect in this country, whether it's a good place to move to, are other countries better, is US better, or Canada better, or Australia, or UK, or Ireland. So happy to answer any of your questions, guys. And But even if you don't have any questions, I'm happy to share some overall picture about New Zealand anyway. So what makes New Zealand New Zealand? I think New Zealand was one of the last places on earth to be discovered by humanity as such, because humans have been migrating for a long time out of Africa to various other countries. And because New Zealand was a very far away island, it took a while for people to navigate here through, because basically New Zealand is separated by a large ocean from rest of the continents, and so people could only get here by boat. And so one of the first people who came here are called the Maori. That's our local indigenous people here, and they pretty much came in very basic boats, which were, I mean, reasonably big, but not very sophisticated as such. Yeah, I mean, hats off to them that they could sail across the oceans with little to guide them except the stars in the sky. And that's why they have a very strong and rich tradition. And there are a lot of Maori tribes in New Zealand, and they all name themselves after the canoe, the boat in which they came to New Zealand. Um, and so each tribe is named after the boat in which they arrived into New Zealand. So that's a brief history. For instance, where I live in the city called Hamilton, and this region is called Waikato. So the Waikato local tribe is called the Tainui. And so basically they trace back their lineage to the Tainui waka, as it's called, waka being canoe or boat in which they came. So yeah, that's a little brief history of of how New Zealand was discovered by humans, and then, of course, later the Europeans came along, and the first person to land here was from the currently today we call it Holland or the Netherlands, and his name was Abel Tasman. He was a sailor who came in a ship, and when he saw New Zealand for the first time, which was already inhabited by the Maori by the time, he realized that that this particular place, the new place he discovered after the Maori, from the European perspective, he realized that it looks a lot like his one of the provinces in Netherlands called Zeeland. It still exists in Holland, and that's why he called this New Zealand, and that's where the name comes from. Anyway, a little bit of history because I have my first question, and it says, "Hi, I'm from India. I'm working in Singapore. 8 years heavy truck driving experience. Can I come visiting visa, and can get driving license and job finding? Please advise me. Thanks." Absolutely. I don't know your full name, so I'll just call you for JRK. Absolutely, JRK. In fact, we have a pretty big shortage of heavy truck drivers right now in the country, and so the fact is, you're already working and in heavy truck driving in a country like Singapore, which is one of the more advanced countries around the world. So I'm absolutely certain that you will have a very bright future to come to New Zealand and create a career as a heavy truck driver. Because also bear in mind, here in New Zealand we don't have a lot of railways or trains, so a lot of our transportation occurs by road. So because of that, there is a big demand for truck drivers. So I think, JRK, you will definitely have very good potential. Maybe you'll have to come and transfer your Singapore heavy truck driving license to the New Zealand heavy truck driving license. But hey, why not? It shouldn't be a difficult process. Why don't you get in touch with us? And what you can do is send your CV to info@ajvglobal.com. I can type it for you guys here in case. So just send your CV to info@ajvglobal.com, and make sure your contact details are in that so that one of our team members can get in touch with you and advise you how we can move from Singapore to New Zealand. But yeah, we definitely have a big demand for heavy truck drivers in New Zealand, and because you're already driving in Singapore, I think you will do very well. Next question is from Harish. It says, "What is the scenario of hospitality and tourism jobs in New Zealand after COVID, and especially during the current inflation period all over the world?" I think it's a fantastic question, Harish, because you also have to remember that New Zealand is mainly a country where there are three or four top industries, and one of the our topmost industries is tourism, which got absolutely demolished during COVID. Like it happened in many parts across the world. And our tourism sector, which I think was the second highest earning industry for us in New Zealand. And because of COVID, the industry got demolished and there was a lot of trouble. So now we are trying to rebuild it. And the tourism and hospitality sector is finding it very hard to find competent workers and hospitality workers and tourism workers to get back into the industry. And that is why there is a very large demand also for tourism sector people. So Harish, if you're keen to come and create a career in tourism and hospitality in New Zealand, very good choice, because our tourism is now picking up again. More and more tourists are coming back. New Zealand is on the bucket list of many people um, to visit. So which is why I think tourism will go back to becoming our second largest industry again. Our largest industry is dairy products, by the way, which we export a lot to the world. So Hare, same advice to you. Please send your CV to info@ajvglobal.com, and we will try to say what is the best way we can find a pathway for you, because there are various pathways into New Zealand. You can either come through direct migration, or if you get a job offer, you can come through on something called accredited employer work visa, if you don't have a job offer or you don't get enough points to get into the direct migration pathway, then there is also a study and settle pathway. So I know the various pathways. In fact, on my channel, there is a playlist called All the Migration Pathways into New Zealand. But Harish, do send us your CV to info@agvglobal.com. And guys, whoever is sending your CVs, please make sure their contact number and your email is there so that we can connect with you. And also, we don't charge you anything for any initial consultation. We'll be happily engage in you and give you a lot of information free of cost, just like how I'm doing right now. I'm not charging you guys anything. So we'll happily talk to you, and we've helped hundreds and thousands of people to move to New Zealand. So Joseph, thanks for sharing your name, Joseph Raj. Joseph and Harish will be very happy to help you both. Please send us your email, your CVs to info@hvglobal.com. And I promise you, we will not jump onto you and say, "Oh, come to New Zealand." No, we're not those people. We are not those sales people who will, just because you sent us your CV, that will jump onto you and hound you. No, we'll talk to you, have a good conversation like how we're having now. If you like what we say, you can embark on that journey. If you don't like it, so be it. We'll remain friends. And all you have to do is tell other people about my channel and myself and my company. I'll be more than happy with that. All right. Now, Tirtha asks, I'm here in New Zealand with visitor visa. Excellent, Tirtha. Welcome to New Zealand. I'm glad here, and thank you for choosing to come to New Zealand and visiting our beautiful country. I have lived here now for the last 22 years. Yes, I came to New Zealand in 2001, and I also came on a visitor visa, by the way, Tirtha, back in 2001. But today I'm a proud citizen. I have this fantastic team of people inside AGV Global who are helping more people to come to us and help us to grow as a country, as an economy, and all those things. So, Tirtha, if you are looking for some opportunities while you're here in New Zealand as a tourist, all you have to do is, again, same thing. Send us an email to info@agvglobal.com with your contact details, or you can even call our local toll-free number, which means you will not be charged for that call, and that number is 0800 696977, and we have a nice big team of advisors here in New Zealand. One of us will pick up that call and definitely. Um, so your question, Tirtha, is I'm in New Zealand with a visitor visa. I've been driving bus in Singapore for more than 10 years. Can I drive a bus in New Zealand? I mean, the simple answer is yes. I don't see any reason why you can't do it. But it might require a little process. You might have to convert your license from the Singapore driving license to the New Zealand driving license. Plus, there might also be maybe an upgrading course that you will have to do to be able to get the local bus driver's license. Plus, you may also have to find yourself a job offer, because after that, you can get something called the accredited employer work visa. So, these are all things I can't discuss in this particular one call. But yeah, do send us your CV, Tirtha, or pick up the phone and call us 0800 uh, uh, anytime during our work period. 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. is when our team is active. I work late, and that's why I'm doing this live session at 9:25 p.m. New Zealand time, because I stay in touch with all my other teams across the world. So that's why. So, Tirtha, I hope I answered your question. There is a gentleman with an Arabic name. I can't read it. I don't know Arabic, unfortunately. I know Urdu, though. I can't read Urdu, but I can speak Urdu. So, yeah, considering you're from uh, somewhere in the Middle East. Assalamu alaikum. Hope you're doing well and getting ready for Eid. Fantastic. Investor visa for New Zealand. Good question. Again, if you can type your name in English, that will be fantastic for me to address you in your name. But otherwise, as well, yeah, investors visa got recently reworked a little bit. Earlier, we used to have something called Investor One and Investor Two, and now they have changed it into something called the active investor category. So there's been a few changes to the investor category, but there's interestingly another category of visa which sits under the investor category called the entrepreneur work visa, which again involves investment, but not as much as the investor plus category. So if you have, let's say, limited resources and only have half a million or $1 million, because the active investment investor categories requires a lot more investment, which is in the millions. So depends on what you are looking at, whether you want to just passively invest and get residence in New Zealand, or whether you want to actively invest and start a company or buy a company and then find residence here. There are all kinds of possibilities. Absolutely. Like I said, I'm sorry, I can't read your name. But no, absolutely. Same thing I would recommend. And by the way, in my company, we are a lot of licensed immigration advisors, and myself and my co director, called Dr. Bogatsky, who worked in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade of New Zealand. He's and I are the senior directors of the company. We get actively involved with all our investors and entrepreneurs. So if you're keen to talk to us and have a discussion, please send us your CV or contact details to info@ajvglobal.com, and we will happily help you and assist you. Recently, we've helped a person from the US to move in on the entrepreneur, investor kind of category. Somebody from South Africa. So all kinds of possibilities do exist, and I once we talk to you, we will know what is your investment capacity and what pathways we can recommend to you. Tirtha, I've already answered your question. Wasim asks, can we convert visit visa to work permit? We don't use the word permit any longer. We only use the word called visa in New Zealand now. So yeah, I mean, possible, to be honest, because Wasim, I did exactly the same thing in 2001 when I came here. I came on a visitor visa, but I got it converted into a work visa, and then those days it was still called work permit. So I got it converted into a work visa, and then eventually I got my residence, and then eventually got my citizenship, and that's why I live here with my family now. But yeah, possible. But again, Wasim, without knowing any background or details or information about, what your background is, what's your qualifications, what are your work experience, all those details are needed for us to make a good, honest assessment and tell you, saying, hey, look, this is possible or this is not possible. So if you could please email your CV with the contact details to info@ajvglobal.com. We will gladly do a free assessment for you and let you know whether it is possible to convert it from a visitor visa to a work visa. You have also not mentioned whether it is you're already in New Zealand on a visitor visa or you're planning to apply for a visitor visa. And if you're planning to apply for a visitor visa, but if your real intention is to work here, we can also advise you saying, why you're doing trying to come through a visitor visa when there are other pathways that you can consider. So Wasim, please do send your CV to us with your contact number and email, and we will definitely get back in touch with you. Preeti has jumped in. Hi, Preeti. Manaka Pure. Very nice. Hi, Preeti. And Preeti's question is, please guide for ECE graduate diploma course level 7 in New Zealand, or how to move to New Zealand as pre-primary teacher from India. Thank you. Preeti, again, we have a pretty big shortage of teachers in New Zealand. Because, I mean, what a lot of people need to realize is that as much as there is migration coming into New Zealand, there is also outward migration. And a lot of New Zealanders also like to go to countries like UK, Australia, and expand their scope and their knowledge and their work experience. And that's why there's always a constant shortage of teachers in New Zealand. So I think your uh, course choice is very good in terms of wanting to do a graduate diploma course level in ECE. I don't know which particular institution you're looking at, but we as a company, we have good contacts with at least two or three of them, and some of the outcomes have been brilliant. And yeah, to move from just go through my all the videos on my channel, Priti, and I'm sure there will be something somewhere which will talk about how teachers can move from India to New Zealand. But all I can tell you is right off the bat that yes, we have a requirement for teachers here, especially in the early childhood education sector, and I think you will do because we have this compulsory, early childhood law here, which means even the government funds a lot of early childhood centers and and helps in the growth of that particular industry. So yeah, we're always looking for teachers, and we would love to have more people like yourself come and pick up jobs in New Zealand. And also, as a country, we are changing our dynamics and our mix of people here. So, which means it's no longer a very only European or only Maori kind of a country. There are a lot of other ethnicities, especially quite a few coming from India. So, which means there's also a demand for teachers from an Indian background because you will relate better to your students. And so that's the way it is. So, Preeti, again, same advice to you. We would love to assess your full CV and also check to see because again you may not have to do a course if you have adequate qualification somewhere else as long as you can get registration with the teachers teaching council, but will your existing qualifications and experience be good enough or do you have to do a course here in New Zealand, and which schools you're working in India or what's your background. Only once we know that, we will be able to make a good, honest assessment and come back and give you some advice. And so, Preeti, please send us your CV with your contact number and email to info@ajvglobal.com. And you can mention the email saying, I interacted with Arun during his live session on the 19th of April. And one of my wonderful team members will get in touch with you. And like we said, as a company, we like to give the simplest, most honest, and the least expensive moving options to our clients from anywhere in the world to come to New Zealand. So, yeah, if you believe and trust us, like how hundreds and thousands of other clients have already done, we would love to work with you and help you. So, today was a very impromptu, I suddenly decided to do a live session and with no real topic on my mind, to be honest. I was just hoping somebody will come and ask me some questions, but I do thank all of you who joined the session today. So thank you, Joseph, Samrat, Harish, Vikas. Oh, Vikas asked about electrical engineering. Sorry, Vikas. I didn't mean to miss your question. I just was scrolling up. Yeah, electrical engineers, absolutely. Electrical engineers are in our long-term skill shortage, and I think they're also on something we call the green list. So I'll have to verify and check. But no, absolutely, engineers are always, always, always in big demand here in New Zealand. And you are secondary school teachers, so I'm assuming your spouse is a secondary school teacher. Like I was just answering Preeti, absolutely, we need engineers, we need teachers, we need medical professionals, we need IT professionals, we need drivers, we need all kinds of people. We even need plumbers and carpenters and across the spectrum of various, except for very few things like maybe retail managers and stuff like that. Except that everybody who's been on this chat today and on this call today are absolutely needed in New Zealand. You are needed. So that's the first thing you need to realize. All of you who, including the gentleman whose name was in Arabic, who said, I would like to invest. We need investors as well here. We want you to come in with your capital and establish companies here and create jobs and help our economy grow. So everybody on this particular chat are needed in New Zealand. And how we can get here and how we can establish here will be a process. And as I'm sure you'll understand, it can't be magic where you suddenly wake up one day and find yourself in New Zealand. And so that's why to see which process is best for you, how to go through the process, what are the documents required, how much money is required, and how AJV Global can help you is what we can help you with once you get in touch with us. So, all of you, all my requests to everybody, who has joined in today, Wasim as well, Preeti, Tirtha, Joseph, Vikas, Harish, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the session today, and please do send that CV you have. You have nothing to lose. It's like I said, we will not come after you and say, "Oh, now you have to work with us." No, we are not people like that. We're just good, honest people who will give the best advice to you and help you to establish yourself here in New Zealand and create a happy future for yourself and your family. So, well, that's it. Been speaking for 25 minutes now. How time flies. But have a great evening, everybody. And it was lovely to get online after a long time. And hopefully, every week or 10 days, I'll jump in and make some sudden out of the blue videos. So, please tell your family and friends to subscribe to my channel. And also, we have an AJV Global channel. So, ask them to subscribe to that as well. There are tons and tons of videos about all the different pathways. And after you watch our videos, if you still want more information, send us your CV and we will engage with you and give you the, yeah, cool. Thank you, Wasim, for sending your CV. And so, yeah, good night, everybody. And thank you once again for joining my live session. Take care. Good night. Bye bye.